Greetings and welcome. I'm Rebecca Carner, Biofield tuner. Today's video is going to be pretty succinct because of scheduling of this day. You know what? Let's just start by dropping in with a little breath and sound. Take a nice full sort of arrival breath, and then after that, breathe rhythmically and naturally, however it feels right to you right now. Awesome. Today's concept is really simple, as are all things profound. But I'm offering today's concept as a way to orient each of us as we navigate this incredible time. Let's really drop in and just ground. And ground means being present, even if you're not calm, even if you're a little titchy or angsty or angsty or whatever. It's okay. You can still be where you are. It is that concept of grounding. Yeah, it's okay. Even if you don't want to be where you are, you can still be grounded. All right. Let's change frequencies on that grounding and see if I can't drop us in a little more firmly, and I dare even say devotedly, right into nice. Yeah. Yeah. Devotedly being here now. Great. Awesome. All right. So the words that I'm going to say before I just drop into some surround sound are, recently I was listening to a podcast, and the host of said podcast quoted to his guest that he remembered to quote, "The way you do one thing is the way you do everything." And it was interesting because I'd heard it before, but it had been a hot minute since I'd heard that. And in that way, I was thinking not only how true that is, right? The sort of characteristics of engagement that one cultivates in oneself. You can't not be that to whatever you engage with, to whatever degree. I mean, obviously you might not go grocery shopping with the same gusto that you do your favoritist sports, but you're always very much you as you steward yourself through your different activities, and there is a qualitative sameness, hopefully a coherence of self that you present in all things that you do. And I really liked the succinct phrasing of that, and I was delighted to be reminded of it. And then also in some of the sort of more abstract spiritual considerations and disciplines and concepts, the way, how does one navigate change, right? How do you do something, create something, look for something that you've never had before? Because by definition, when you arrive to that new thing, it will be as yet wholly unfamiliar. And I'm not going to spend the time in this video going into all the systemic responses that we, as trying to survive animals, recoil from something that we can't immediately assess and know what it is sort of predictively. That's really not the point, because like Pam Gregory says, there's so much out there. Really make stillness states with yourself. So in the long journey of the one step inward, all of these things to orient oneself internally as then the impetus point of an entire life experience and anything that you plan to do or hope to do in said lifetime. And that quote, "The way you do one thing is the way you do everything," is a way of, it's sort of a handy reference, sort of self-systems check that you can give, because if you realize, I don't even know how I'm doing this. Like, am I doing this like Rebecca? Uh, that is going to make you breathe and be present for a second so that you can even know, which way do I go, right? How am I coming at this? And that, from Dr. Joe Dispenza, sort of historically, to Dr. David Clements most recently, this sort of coherent internal infinity point, that can seem really mystical and really hard to understand and esoteric and kind of unattainable, or at best ineffable, but just very practically and pragmatically, how am I showing up to this, right? That's my phrasing of this. How am I showing up to this, even to things that I don't love or that I'm nervous about or whatever? All I can truly control, or if I'm engaging with something or someone that I'm not sure what they're going to bring, the only thing that I have the only thing that I have avenue of influence and agency with, is how I rock up, and then how I proceed to take each step thereafter. And as a handy phraseology to help retrain and reassess moment to moment to moment, is how are you doing this? And are you doing this like you want? And also, a la Gene Keys, right? I think it's maybe Gene Key 29. If I'm not mistaken, there's one, I think it's in the 20s, and it's like half-heartedness is the shadow aspect, right? And so embedded in half-heartedness, if you try and short shrift or sort of hedge your bets or whatever, half-heartedness always contains the seed of incoherence, which equals failure, right? But if you go into something all the way, something will come of it. It may not be exactly what you want or hope, but you will always find fruit if you give 100% applied devotion to whatsoever. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there. And with that, those are all the words. And the last little thing, and I think that in so doing, it really helps pan back from having fear be a driver, because nobody's going to wholeheartedly and devotedly engage with that what they are not wanting. So it helps retrain us into the consideration of, what do I want? Just recently, I was in a conversation with someone, and we were remarking how rarely we're really prompted. Quote, nobody asks us, what do you want? It's a rarity, right? It's more like, well, what do you got to do to avoid the thing that you're afraid might become? But that's not generation, right? That's not generative, creative quality, is to outrun fear. That's not making a thing. That's flight. But if you think, how am I doing this? You're already, imagining, I am the creator of this thing, and how am I in that driver's seat, in that stewardship of my own life experience. Yeah, wow, yeah. And that's how we do the unknown. We show up in the way that we know we're bringing our best self, and only from that movement, from that quality, only in that vector, could we even possibly make something new. And that is, from that vector, the only way that we could possibly make something wonderful. Even if we don't know how, that's how you figure out very quickly what you want to learn, the things that you as yet still need, the resources that you need to gather. It's by being all in. But sometimes we don't, because of busyness or draws and siphoning on our energy and time, we don't even realize how much we're not fully engaged with whatever we're doing. Yeah, nice. Right. I feel like I'm in everybody's right foot, which is in the Biofield anatomy, the steps forward. Like, some people really are in tough, and God, it just went up about 197 degrees in here. Wow. And with the sweating. Okay. The trepidation over steps forward, not feeling like you have choice. There is always a choice, unless you are, there are many people in situations that are dire. And in that way, I want to be compassionately aware that in some regards, this video may not feel like it's for you. Fair enough. And I am sorry. And I see you there. And for everybody else, you do have choice. You do have agency. And if by showing up the most beautifully you can, even to things that aren't a match for you right now, that is your only hope of shifting them. Right? Yeah. That is how you breed the most coherence in your system, that then magnetizes that what is best for you to you. Yeah. Phew, yeah. Ooh, good deal. Okay, that calmed down a little. And then again, if you're feeling as if I don't even, okay, yeah, I know I'm kind of half-assing it. I know I'm calling it in, phoning it in, so to speak, um, because I don't love what I'm doing right now. Again, even by asking that self-assessment question of how am I showing up to it, if the response is, yeah, well, I'm half-assing it because I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right there. Okay, then that prompts the next question. Okay, then what do you want? Right? What do you want? And again, it is from that place that we then begin to create frequency matches and win situations. Yeah, 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 yeah. And it also really cultivates self-trust, right? And self-respect, self-confidence and self-respect. If I show up my best and I know I am doing me and bringing all my love and all my heart and all of my accrued experiences and wisdom, it showed me almost like a sprouting seed. It's like if you show up like that, even to something that you had kind of thought was icky, the wellspring of something that is for you and is something delicious for you can come up in the most unlikely places. And it's about you showing up, showing all the way up. Yeah. And then, right, there's this lovely doctor whose name is escaping me who talks about social dynamics in terms of systems and electrical nodes. And she was saying, a promise opens a loop for hope, but fulfilling that promise creates the system's edge, like the concrete system of trust. And while much of the dynamics that she describes in her work is outside of self, that is, as above, so below, right? As within, so without. That same way, if I promise somebody something, they hope I will come through with it. And then if I follow up and carry on and carry through with it, then they will begin to trust me. But that same relationship is 100% built the exact same way internally, right? And so if you over time, again and again, at the end of the day, can say, well, that went poorly, or that relationship or that job or that project didn't go well or wound up not being for me. But I liked the way I showed up, right? That makes you and your field more clarified, more reverberant, more The word that wants to come is more stout, but not in that thick way, but just kind of like, um, yeah, robust. There you go. More robust. That's it. That's it. That's it. And robust clarity is not egotism, egotisticalness. To be able to trust yourself doesn't make you a megalomaniac. It makes you true. It makes you sound, right? Of sound mind and body. It makes you resoundingly trustful of self. Oh, gosh. And that is strength, right? That's not muscle. That's not leverage. That's not extortion, overpowerment. That is internal strength. Mm. I keep seeing sort of this, I guess almost it kind of fluctuates between like a really mighty pine or one of those magnificent redwoods, right? I was just thinking, like a tree doesn't half-ass it. Like a tree is always 100% treeing, and you can say, "Yeah, Rebecca, but it's a tree." Um, but I mean, in that way, our stuff is only more complicated because we conceive it and make it to be. There, when one slows down, when one is present, when one centers and orients from this internal inception point, there is things get quieter and more simplified in that way. Yeah. Right? Clarity is really a sort of divine organization, right? And if priorities are organized choices, when you sort of slow the internal and therefore external spin, let some of the extraneous particulate that sort of got swept up in the centrifuge drop down, it becomes really easy to organize one's choices, right? To focus on one's priorities. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Excellent. All right. All right, I'm going to wrap this up as promised. I opened the hope that I would keep this tuning short today, and now I am delivering on said promise. Therefore, building and emitting, building trust with self, building trust with you, and emitting the field of that intentional trust building into the collective field as a lived example. Gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you, friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you, friends. All right. I'm wrapping this all up. I, for one, am going to show up to this day with intention and care that I do varying degrees of pretty much all the time. But having refocused and been joined by you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. RebeccaCarner.com. If you want to reach out, get more information, just have a touchstone somewhere in the cosmos. If you email me off my website, I will email you back. Until the next, thank you, friends. Engage with your life and be co-creative and generative wonders. I'm here with you. Until the next.